Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be 21 things I've learned through 21 years. I was a little bored in my room and I was like itching to make a YouTube video. I couldn't quite think of one to make. But since it's a new year and I feel like a new year comes with a lot of reflection of the past year, I was like, why don't I just think of all the amazing lessons that I've learned so I can help you guys out. I don't want to make this intro too long, so let's just dive right into the video. So the first thing on my list is that it's better to talk in person. The way that communication is nowadays, there's so many different channels to communicate through. I feel like serious conversations really need to be had in person, especially when you're fighting, because I feel like when you're behind a screen and you're really mad, your fingers just move so fast, faster than your brain is really thinking, and sometimes you say things that you don't quite mean. A lot of people's argument against talking in person is that they need time to think and they need separation between them and the person so they could think about what they're saying before they send it. But honestly, in most cases, people don't really tend to think about what they're saying before they hit send on a text message. And honestly, just because you're talking in person, there's no reason that you can't just be like, hey, listen, I need a breather, I just need some time to think, and we'll come revisit this conversation. I just think talking in person is so much more effective and definitely allows you to think about what you're saying. You might say something over text that you wouldn't say in person to someone's face. So I feel like it's just like a lot easier to have conversations in person. My second one is something that took me a really long time to learn, and honestly I still struggle with it sometimes. But the second one is there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you. You could be doing everything right, it doesn't matter, someone is still not going to like you. And I feel like that's just a tough pill to swallow because it's so hard to deal with hate and having the idea of someone not liking you. If 100 people are constantly telling you you're so pretty, and one person tells you you're ugly, that hits harder than the 100 people who are telling you that you're pretty. So I think with accepting the fact that there's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you or somebody that you can't please, I think that kind of just like eases yourself and lets yourself realize, like, as long as I'm happy with what I'm doing, like, it doesn't matter what these other people think of me. And I think that's like a really important lesson to learn, because it's one thing to understand something and it's another to apply it to your life. Like, I understand the concept that not everybody is going to like me, but sometimes it's hard to accept and hard to deal with in your day-to-day life. You know what? You just need to sit back and say, okay. So my third one is that you can't push people. And what I mean by this is it's not like you can't physically shove people. Like, yeah, you could physically shove people if you have the muscle power. I personally don't. What I mean by that is you can't push people to do things that they don't want to do. You can't push people to heal. You can't push people to understand. And, you know, sometimes that could be a little mentally draining for you, and it could be a little frustrating as well. Sometimes you just can't make people understand. Sometimes there is just that disconnect. My fourth one is quality over quantity, and I mean this in terms of friendships, relationships, etc., you name it, whatever. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean that they are necessarily good for you. I think a really good example of this is when people are dating for a really long time and they're like, but we've been together for 4 years or 5 years or 7 years or whatever it is, and you're like, I'm not gonna break up with them like because of X, Y, and Z, because we've been together for 7 years. And people just have a really hard time separating from things that they've been around for a really long time because they're comfortable. I think this could be a really big reason why people don't cut people who are toxic or just not good for them anymore out of their lives. And, you know, I think it's not a good enough reason. I don't think just because someone has been in your life for X, Y, Z amount of years means that you need to keep them in your life. You should only keep people in your life who have really good energy, really good intentions for you, and really want the best for you. It doesn't mean that you need to hang out every single day. That doesn't mean that you need to know everything that's going on in their lives. No, there's not enough of you to go around to be hanging out with people who don't have good intentions for you. And you know, that doesn't mean they need to be kissing the ground that you walk on. It's just, you know, is this person a good friend, yes or no? I mean, of course, people get into tiny fights here and there, and you can make up and you can move on, and of course, that's completely fine. If you find yourself in a situation where this person is just continuously toxic or not good for you or not understanding you or not making you feel validated, I don't think that just because you've known each other or been in each other's lives for a long amount of time that you necessarily need to remain friends. Number 5, a lot of people that I know have like issues with this, and and number 5 is that it's okay to do things on your own. Like, if you want to go to the movies by yourself, like, just go by yourself. And I feel like a lot of people just have issues with that and accepting that because it's not really a societal norm to do things like that by yourself. I find myself doing things by myself all the time. You know, whenever I go out to eat, I normally just go by myself because It's just not in my nature to think about asking someone to come with me unless I'm already with them and we just so happen to be hungry and want to go out to eat. If I'm craving a certain food or something, like I don't always make plans just to go eat or just to go to the beach or just to go see a movie. Like if I want to do it, like I'm just gonna do it. And I feel like just getting over that initial weirdness of doing things on your own is a really important step. When I first got my driver's license, I kind of got over that because I, you know, had more freedom and I was able to drive around. But I think it's really healthy to, you know, not deny yourself from doing something that you want to do just because you don't have someone to do it with. Number 6 is pictures are the best memories. This is something that I learned early on. I absolutely love pictures, and you know, even if they're silly, even if they're not good quality, it doesn't really matter. When most people go on vacation, they always find themselves leaving with a souvenir of some sort, like a postcard or a candle, something to hold on to, something to remember the trip by. But I honestly think pictures are the best thing for that. Not even just going on trips, even if you just hang out with a friend or even if you're just grabbing coffee with someone and you don't get to see them often. I feel like snapping a picture is just like the best way to keep that memory. So number 7 is embarrassment isn't real. And I know that sounds ridiculous because you're like, Allison, like if embarrassment is an emotion that I really do feel. And honestly, like if you don't care what people think, like embarrassment isn't real. I feel like there's no good enough reason to get embarrassed, especially when you're like around people that you don't know or who don't know you. I just went on vacation the past week and I was in Walt Disney World in Florida, and I was at one of the parks, which is called Epcot if you're not familiar. During the day it was super hot, so I was wearing shorts, but at nighttime when the sun went down it got way colder, but we wanted to stay for the fireworks show. So I really like needed to buy pants because I was just so cold. The only store that really had pants was Epcot has like different countries around the world, and the one country that had pants was Canada. I found this onesie. It's literally this onesie, and on the back it says bear bum, which one I just thought was like adorable, and 2, it's literally a onesie with bears on it. And I bought it because I was cold and I put it on and I was walking around Epcot in this onesie. And at first I was like, this is like a little embarrassing, like people are gonna be like, what is this girl wearing? But then I was like, honestly, I'm cold, I need to be warm. These pajamas are warmer than what I'm wearing, they're funny, it's cute, it's like a good memory. Like there's no real reason to be embarrassed. And I feel like people were looking at me and they're like, what the hell, like is this girl wearing? And you know, I was just like, whatever. It's just like what I mean by like embarrassment isn't real. You shouldn't not do things that you want to do just because you're afraid of what other people think. Number 8, there's not a long explanation for this. It's just listening to music is important. And you know, not just the things that are on the radio, not just the things that are popular, you know, listening to music that you really like and you really enjoy and really identify with. I feel like that's super important. Number 9. It's okay to be wrong. I know sometimes when you're arguing with someone, halfway through the argument you may realize like, oh, like I'm actually completely wrong about this, but you just like continue on the argument because you don't want to lose the argument. Needless to say, that's not like a healthy practice. It is okay to be wrong. It is okay to be vulnerable. It is okay to apologize. It's okay to take ownership, you know, and that also goes hand in hand with like if someone says like you hurt my feelings, or when you did this, you made me feel this way. Like you can't go ahead and deny that and say, I didn't make you upset, I didn't make you sad, I didn't do this. You can't deny someone's feelings. Like if that is how they felt, you can't take that away from them. I think relationships and conversations go a lot smoother if you are willing to hear, like actually hear the other person, and you know, be prepared to take ownership and to realize, you know, maybe I did do something wrong. Number 10, you don't need it, you want it. I have so much shit. Like literally this whole entire winter break that I've been home, I've just been going through my drawers like crazy, going through my closet like crazy, going through everything I own like crazy. Things that really just have no use for anybody, I throw them out. Clothes and items of that nature that I can make money off of, I put on Poshmark. If I think they're not gonna sell on Poshmark, I'll bring them to Plato's Closet. If Plato's Closet doesn't accept them, I donate them. I own so many freaking things. I'm like, how did I even accumulate this many things? Like, I don't even get it. We're all guilty of it. We all own too many things, I'm sure. But I really am trying to be more aware of what I'm buying after I just bought a onesie from Epcot, whatever. I really am trying to be more aware of like, do I need this or do I want this? You don't need it, you just want it. Number 11, happiness starts from within. So people always say, if I was just 5 pounds lighter, if my hair was curly, if my eyebrows were better, if my boobs were bigger, blah, 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 blah. I promise you, like I swear to you, you would not be happier if your boobs were bigger, if you were a little bit taller. Like, that's just not the way that it works. There's YouTubers that I watch that I literally am like, you're like amazing. Like, you were literally the stars in the sky. And you know, there's videos of them just crying and talking about their insecurities and how they don't feel good about themselves. Like, just because you look a certain way doesn't mean that you're gonna be happy. Just because you own materialistic items doesn't mean you're gonna be happy. It's really hard to be happy all the time. You know, no person is happy all the time. I think it's just really important to notice and realize that happiness doesn't just come from physical things. It's just like more emotional in the way that you feel. And if you're not happy within yourself and within your heart, then it doesn't matter how you look, it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter what car you drive, like that doesn't matter. You're not gonna be happy. Number 12 kind of relates to this one. Jealousy is literally a disease. Jealousy like literally sinks into your like soul. Like, it starts here in the brain and like literally just like trickles down and makes you feel horrible. Sorry, my hands are really dry. When you do start feeding into jealousy, it doesn't only take away from you and your self-esteem and your light and your positivity, but it also takes away from your relationships because you're taking out your own insecurities and how you feel like on other people. I think the best thing that you could do is just be aware of what's going on when you are feeling jealous and, you know, try your best to take those steps, you know, to stop it. You don't need to not be nice to people just because you're not feeling very nice yourself that day. Realize what's going on and be aware of it and take it in, but suppress it and try to be a better person. Number 13, expression is important. I find that I was the most tightly wound and the most negative, worst version of myself when I wasn't creating YouTube videos or I wasn't an influencer, oh my God, on Instagram. I find that I'm happiest when I'm able to create and share it with the world. That's just my form of expression. Yours may be singing, it may be dancing, it may be fishing, just whatever makes you happy. I feel like doing that is so important and so healthy. And people just get really wrapped up in their lives and forget to express themselves and forget to do what they like. And number 14 is crisis builds character. You know, if you're dealing with something that's overwhelming or a stressful situation, the way you handle it says way more about you than anything else does. When you have to deal with certain things, you have to access emotions and parts of yourself that you don't really access every single day, because in those moments, in those stressful moments, it really shows who you are, what you're capable of, and what you could do under pressure. Number 15, it's okay to walk away and take a breather. This applies to when you're fighting with someone or when you're just having a really high-strung conversation or a really stressful conversation. It's okay to just like get up and be like, listen, I need a minute. I wish that that was something that I realized was okay sooner, because I always was under the impression that you need to have a conversation and finish it right then and there. If you're fighting with someone, you shouldn't go to bed angry or upset or with it unresolved, but you can go to sleep with the issue unresolved. Let's just go to sleep. We need rest. We both need to relax, de-stress. Let's talk about this tomorrow. And at the end of the day, you shouldn't really be fighting with people or about things that you don't care about. So if you do care about someone or something, it is best to regain control of your emotions and your thoughts so you could have a productive conversation. Number 16, not everyone was raised like you. Not everyone has the same experiences that you have. With some people, certain things are just never gonna register. They're just never gonna get it from your perspective because they haven't experienced it. Just for example, my personal experience with scoliosis, there's a lot of people that have followed me and have had scoliosis, and they say like, I totally relate to how draining it was on your self-esteem and on you as a person. And other people have it and they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like I never felt insecure. I never had these issues that you're talking about. You're being over dramatic and looking for attention. I can get mad at those people because it's not their experience and that's not the way that they had gone through it. But for me, it really was so mentally draining. I try not to get mad when people like do things like that or say things like that and they're just like not getting it or not seeing it from my perspective, because not everyone was raised like you. Not everyone has the same experiences as you, and you can get mad at them for not understanding. I mean, of course, it is upsetting when someone's really narrow-minded and isn't seeing it from your side or listening to how you feel, but like I said, you can't push people, you can't control people, so it's just easier if you just like let that go. Number 17, everyone is going through something. Like I mentioned previously in the video, you don't need to take out your own frustrations, your own negative, anxiety-ridden feelings on other people, because everyone is dealing with something. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that, especially on the internet. Everyone has things going on and you don't need to be so hard on people. But I think it's really important to just realize that we all are people and we all are going through things, and it's really important to be nicer to each other, honestly. Number 18, this kind of dives back into the whole fighting thing. Hitting below the belt doesn't improve your argument. I absolutely hate when I'm fighting with someone and they'll throw something in my face that they know bothers me. Not to say that I'm not guilty of it, because I absolutely am, but hitting below the belt and just taking advantage of people's insecurities is just like so evil. Online, things just get so dirty because people have that sense of anonymity. Just for example, something that people would say to me, like, oh, you have small boobs. Like I wasn't designed in a lab, my guy. Like, that's just such like a low blow. Doesn't improve your argument, doesn't make you a better person. Like, there's just no need to even ever go there. Not necessary. Number 19, now that I am 21, I feel it is appropriate to discuss this on here. You don't need alcohol or drugs to have a good time. There are so many times that I volunteered to be the DD. I think the most important thing is for us to get home safe. Like, if we have a good time and we all die in a car accident, like on the way home, like, how good of a time was it really? You don't need to always drink at parties. You don't always need to be drunk at parties. You don't always need to dabble in whatever else to have a good time. Like, you can just be yourself and just be there and just be present and just take care of your friends and just hang out with your friends and just take pictures and dance around and listen to music. And you don't need to drink to be a better version of you. I feel like a lot of people do express that they feel more open and more like themselves when they drink. I think that's something that's really important and something that I really want, like, especially younger viewers to understand. Like, you don't need to be drinking to have a good time. Number 20, I think it's really important to not like wish your life away. I don't know how to word that properly, but like I feel like I'm always waiting for like my next vacation, or I'm waiting to graduate. Relax and just like enjoy right now. Even if it's not that exciting, like honestly, you're lucky to be alive, you're lucky to be breathing, you're lucky to be healthy. Like, just enjoy. And number 21, this kind of ties into the last one, but sometimes the little things are the best things. It's like kind of like stop and smell the roses, I guess. There's just so much to be happy about and there's so much to be grateful for. Sometimes, you know, we forget about that because there's so much stress and so much going on in our day-to-day lives. If you stuck to the end of this video, I really hope you enjoyed. I know a lot of these were kind of repetitive of each other and probably repetitive of adages and sayings that you've heard before, but honestly, I think these are all really important lessons. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and you could leave me a comment of one of the best things that you've learned, one of the most important lessons that you've learned in your life. So again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.